and here second setting is complete or not. I could not see. Well, first setting is complete for that, and yes, second setting is complete. Now I forgot about the third settings. Okay. Salam Habibi, how are you? I hope you are fine. It is me, Michaela Santa, and welcome to your channels, Sheikh Afghan Jelebi, the Misogynist Michaela. Accordance with titles, yes, today we are roasting an Instagram reel roast, and here the point is ICC T20 World Cup 2026, and here the keyword is Cricket India and Hardik Pandya and Cricket Zimbabwe. Okay, now here we can see Instagram Reels was different, but now just not for this, it is talking about Jannah Jannam. Instagram Reels says if and women's if we would support a modern women's, hence our destruction is clear. It is written in our Instagram reels. Now let's see what's happened with it. Uh, okay. First of all, here I would go to some Instagram reels. Okay, and here we can see. And first when it is the points. Now let's see. Here is written that if we can work as uh, modern women works, then what would happens? What would happens with like this? Our destruction is clear. Okay. Here our destruction is clear. If we can work with modern women. And now here is my points that how modern women works. Okay. Now and here now we can talk about the cricket Zimbabwe. Well, here the point is the match between West Indies versus Zimbabwe, and here I would talk that how walking is with modern women is actually good for us. Okay, and here we can say Jim in this match Zimbabwe is not working as a modern T20 cricket, but West Indies is working as a modern T20 cricket. How could I say? Here we can see the points. First of all, in the first innings, West Indies scored 254 runs out of 6 wickets in 20 overs. And as a reply innings, Zimbabwe scored 147 runs for all out in 17 over 4 balls. Generally, here Zimbabwe has been all out, hence we can say the Zimbabwe scored 147 in 20 overs. Okay, and now here we can see who is the first scorer of West Indies. Now let's check it. First scorer of West Indies is Simon Hetmew. He scores 85 runs out of 34 balls. And as a reply innings, Brad Evans scores 43 runs out of 21 balls. Now, the second high scorer of West Indies innings is Robman Powell. He scored 59 runs out of 35 balls, where as a reply innings, Dan Meyer scores 28 runs out of 15 balls. Okay, and now here let's see at the points at the moments. My points is clear. Well, now here I would talk about the modern T20 crickets. Well, when T20 cricket has been newly invented in 2007, here if any country would score 147 runs in 20 overs, it is considered as it was considered as a best aggressive batting score in 20 overs in 2007. But now here in 2026, it is almost 19 years later in 2026. If any country can score 147 runs in 20 overs, well, it is as called this week. It is downgraded score in 20 overs. It looks like a test match or one-day match in test match score or one-day match score in T20 match. Now here we can see West Indies score 256 runs out of 20 overs, and that is addressed as a proper T20 match. And now let's see the points. What is 254 runs? Here we can see 240 over boundary is 240 runs. Well, 42 over boundary is 252 runs. Now we can say that 42 over boundary is 258 runs. That means here we can say, well, if any Zimbabwe could contains that 43 over boundary is in almost 7 over 1 ball, here is a probable chance that Zimbabwe could defeat West Indies in 10 wickets. Yes, because West Indies provided Zimbabwe as 255 runs, and that is the reasonable score in T20 match. I mean 20 overs match. But here we are now Zimbabwe scores 147 runs. Now what is 147 runs in 20 overs? Well, 150 runs in 20 over is here almost 7.5 run per over. Run rate of 7.5 runs per over. That is just like one day match run rate, and somehow in some test match 7.5 run per over is functional in test match. But in T20 match, run rate of 7.5 runs in 20 overs, that is not acceptable in 20 overs. But what about the West Indies points? West Indies scored 254 runs out of 20 overs. That is here, run rate is 13 runs per over. That is reasonable run rate in T20. I mean T20 match. Okay. Now here we can say, and now here we would say that how West Indies score is the significant West Indies score can be outdated of T20 match. Here I can explain. And here I would explain that how the Instagram reels says that if we would not walk with the modern women, you would be distracted. Huh. The Instagram reels is wrong. Okay. Now here we can see the significant points as now. Who is the highest scorer of West Indies? That is Simon Hitmar. Simon Hitmar scores 85 runs out of 34 balls. Okay. Now here Simon Hitmar scored 85 runs out of 34 balls. And here we can see now wife, day, well, and here something, Simron Hetmar. Simron Het. What is the spelling of Hetmar? Here we can see Hetmar. Hetmar. West Indies cricketer. Okay. Now here we can see that it is Nirvana Hetmar. And look at her, it is Nirvana Hetmar. She is a beautiful pants. Okay. Now here we can see, just for a moment, here Simon Hetmar scores 85 runs out of 30 balls, and hence Nirvana Hetmar is with him. But now here we can notification at the points. Just for a moment. Well, now if we have to contest these levels of women's, then who does not work with the modern women's, then how would be our performance? Okay, in cricket match. So here we can see 34. Well, now here we can see the points. We have to score 23 runs out of 34 balls to get an women's like a Burkhewali. I mean the Burkha women's. We have to. If we want that our wife would be Burkha women, and I am a cricketer, man cricketer, hence I have to score 23 runs out of 34 balls. But if my score is 85 runs out of 34 balls, that I cannot contest the women as my wife who wear hijab, niqab, burqa, and that means proper ancient Islamic veil. And that is the point. Well, and here the And here that is the questionables. Well, now here my opinion as a hypothetical opinions I would share. If I wish that I do not contents a woman who wear proper ancient Islamic veil like the Instagram reels. Here I have mentioned proper. Here is a woman. She wear proper Islamic veils. If I want that, I don't want. I do not want the wife like she. Then why? What I would contents? Here is the momentums. Okay. Here momentum is that I have to score 34 over boundary in 34 run. I mean in 34 balls, I have to contest 34 over boundary. Now let's see. What is 34 over boundary? That means here we can say 204 runs out of 34 balls. Okay. Now here we can see if a man like a Shimon Hetmar can score 204 runs in 34 balls, here we can get the chance that the women who wears burqa, here I would mention this, the women who wear burqa would not marry me. And what is the cause? Because if I can score 204 runs in 34 balls, and I am the Shimron Hetmar as an West Indies man cricketer, then here my expectation with like that I am the man that to contest the wife, she would love me, she would take care of my house properly. And in this points, when I my score is 204 runs out of 34 balls, then the caretaker of my house to be my wife is a modern woman. It is a properly just because I can score it. But the point is, if I would like to contents the well, if I would like to contents the wife like the Burqa wali, and here the distractions point is in the purpose of my wish like this, I have to score 24 runs out of 34 balls. And here we can see the points. The Burqa women would be my wife to take care of my house. And here my house can be just like a slum house. But when I can score 204 runs out of 34 balls, here the Burqa women cannot be my wife. My wife would be the most modern women and to wear a western dress. And here my house can be like a heavenly palace. And that is what is the points. Okay. And now let me take it the pointers. Well, now here what would happen is the points. Now here Shimon Hetmar scores 85 runs. Now what if we can subtract 254 by 85. Then what would be the points of here? Okay. Now here we can see 284, I will write 254 subtract by 80 is 174. Or and 174 subtract by 5 is 169. And now here is the points. If I would marry a woman who would be the burqa women's, and here I have to score that 0 runs out of 34 balls. And here it is the points for West Caribbean batsman. If Shimron Hetman wants that his wife would be burqa women, if Shimron Hetman wants that he would marry a woman who always wear burqa, then he has to score 0 runs out of 34 balls. And what would be the effect on this? The effect is significant that then West Indies would scores that 169 runs in 20 overs. And that is the outdated score of T20 match. Okay. And this score would be, well, like one day style in 20 overs match. Okay. Now here we go. When West Indies can score 169 runs in 20 overs, here he can provide West Indies can provide 170 runs as a target score to Zimbabwe. That means here West Indies has to score 170 runs in 20 overs. Well, now here we can say that the real score of Zimbabwe is 147 all out in 17 only overs 4 ball. Then here we can say that Zimbabwe real score is 147 in 20 overs. Now, what is subtraction of 169 by 147? That is 72 subtract by 50. That means West Indies can defeat Zimbabwe in 22 runs in the T20 match if and only if Zimbabwe can score, I apologize, if and only if West Indies can score, well, 169 runs if and only if Simon Hitman score is 0 runs out of 34 balls only in the purpose to wed a woman who wear the complete ancient burqa like these women. Okay. And now here we can see this. Let's talk about the second scorer, that is Rovman Powell's. His score is 59 runs out of 35 balls. Okay. Now here we can say the points with the points of here. Well, wife uh, Roman Powell. Okay, uh, and here we can see here if Roman spelling is okay, Powell spelling is double L. Yes, it is okay for it. And now let's see who is wife de Roman Powell's West Indies cricketer, that is Priya Alexander. Oh, oh my Adonai. Priya Alexander is Indians. Well, now here we can see Priya Alexander. Well, now who is the opponents, the points? Priya Alexander's, it is she, Dr. Priya Alexander's, returned to PhD in Singapore as the points. Well, she is beautiful. Okay. Now let's see at the moments that what is the real points. Okay. Now if Roman Powell wants that he would marry a woman who cannot wear burqa like this, then what is the points? Okay. Now here we can see first of all, and here we can show it. Roman Powell has to score the 210 runs in 35 balls. Well, 208 runs in 210 runs in 35 balls. And what is 210 runs in 35 balls? That is 35 over boundary. Well, now here we can see the points. But I have forgot to speak the words. What if Simon Raymond score is 204 runs in 34 balls? Here I can explain. 204 subtracted by 80 is 124. 124 subtracted by 5 is 190. And let's get the summation between 254 by 190. Let's say 254 sum by 9 is 263. 263 sum by 110 is 373. Here we can see that 373. If Simon Raymond can score 204 runs in 34 balls, West Indies can score 373 runs in 20 overs. And here we can say the Zimbabwe's target would be 374 in 20 overs. Now let's get the points. When Zimbabwe's real score is 147 in 20 overs. Now let's check it. What is the subtraction of 373 by 146? That is 376 subtracted by 150. Okay. Now let's say 37 subtracted by 15 is 27 subtracted by 5, that is 22. That means Zimbabwe in the difference of 223 runs in T20 match if and only if West Indies score would be 373 runs in 20 overs. That would be the possible if and only if Simon River would score 204 runs out of 34 balls. Hence, Simon Rimmons would not get an time to wed a woman who wear burqa like this. Okay. And here is the points. Well, now let's check it. Well, the real score of Rahman Powell is 210 runs in 35 balls. I apologize. Rahman Powell's real score is 59 runs out of 35 balls. What if Rahman Powell scored 210 runs in 35 balls? Now let's check it. What is the subtraction between 211 by 60? That is almost 151. Okay. Now let's check it. What is the summation between 254 by 151? That is 255 sum by 150. Here we can say that is 405. That means here West Indies can score 405 runs in 20 overs if and only if Rahman Powell can score 210 runs out of 35 balls. And here what is the affections? When West Indies can score 405 runs out of 20 overs, West Indies can provide the target of 406 runs in 20 overs to Zimbabwe. Okay. Now let's see. Check it. What is the real score of Zimbabwe? That is 147 in 20 overs. Now let's check it. Well. 405 subtracted by 147 is 408 subtracted by 150. Here that would be 258. That means West Indies can defeat Zimbabwe in the difference of 258 runs if and only if West Indies would score 405 runs in 20 overs. That would be possible if and only if Rahman Powell would score 210 runs out of 35 balls. Hence, he would not marry a woman who wear burqa like this. Okay. Now it is the points. And now here we can see now if my question is if Shimron just wait for it. Shimron. Now, if West Indies cricketer Shimron Hetmer scored 85 out of 34 balls, hence that he has not to wait a Burqa women's. That is that the distraction or progress? Here is my question. Well, because here the point is, if we cannot wait a woman like this, here our distraction is clear like this. But the irony is that in the real world, we can say Shimron 8 Mars. Well, she is a wife of Shimron Hetmars. Her name is Nivana Hetmars. Well, she is Priya Alexander. Well, wife of Robman Alexanders. Well. Priya, wife de Roman. Oh my God, Adonai. Why is E? Roman Powell. Well. Who is Roman Powell's wife? Priya Alexander's. Here we can see that is well. She is Roman. It is she. She look pretty. When Roman Powell contains wife like this, but she can still, Roman Powell can score 59 runs out of 35, and where Shimron Hetmar waits Nirvana Hetmars like this, still Shimron Hetmar can score 85 runs out of 34 balls. Then how can we say that if we would not marry a woman like this, well, our destiny would be like this? Well, this is clear the points. Now, here I would show you Shimron Hetmars and Roman Powell would marry Burqa women that hence where is the points? Just for a moment, as if Shimron Hetmar and both of Shimron Hetmar and Roman Powell would marry women like this, then what would be the performance? Here I can guarantee it. The Shimron Hetmar would score 0 runs out of 34 balls, and Roman Powell would score 0 runs out of 35 balls. Okay. Now what is the summation between 85 and 59? Well, now let's take it. 85 sum by 59 is, we can say, 85 sum by 9 sum by 50. Well, 85 sum by 9 is 94. 94 sum by 50 is 144. Okay. Now, when Shimron Hetmar would score 0 out of 34, And Robman Paul would score 0 runs out of 35. Hence, what would happen? Well, West Indies would score 110 runs in 20 overs. And here is the points to be noted that West Indies would provide West Indies would provide 111 triple one runs as the target to Zimbabwe. That means in the points Zimbabwe has to achieve the target of triple one runs in 20 overs. Now let's check it the points. Zimbabwe has been all out in the score of 147 runs in 17 over 4 balls. Now let's check it. And here I can share my calculator. And here my calculator is Jindabad. Okay. Now 147 divided by 17 multiplied by 6. Sum by 4. Okay. Now here we can see there's 1.39 runs per ball. Okay. And here we can see what is the opens. That is 8.32 runs per over. 8.33 runs per overs. Now what we can say, the points triple 1 divided by 8.33. That is almost 13.33 overs. Well, now let's see. What is 0.33 overs? That is 2 balls. Here and here when Zimbabwe has been all out in 147 runs in 17 overs, 4 balls. Now, if West Indies could provide the target of triple one runs in 20 overs, Zimbabwe can achieve the target in the playing of 13 overs, 2 balls. Now let's check it others. Let's check the wicket falls at the moment. Let's check the wicket falls. Well, here we can see 94 by 6. Wicket number 6 has been fall in 10.4 overs, 10 overs, 4 balls. 101 for 7 is 12 over 2 ball. Well, 102, the wicket number 8 has been fall in 13 over 3 balls. Okay. And here we can see. Now let's get the hypothetical points. And here we can see here in this mathematical points, Zimbabwe can defeat West Indies in 2 wickets if and only if West Indies can score 110 runs in 20 overs if and only if Shimon Hetmer would score 0 runs out of 34 balls and Robman Paul could score zero runs out of 35 balls. Hence that Shimon Hetmers and Robman Powell would wed a women's who were burqa like this. Okay. Now here, let's check the reality. And the reality is that in 103 runs, wicket number 9 has been fouled in 14 overs, 3 balls. Okay. Now here we can see that is the points. Just for moments, we can see the significance words. It is brand heads at brands is once. Okay. Now here in this points here we could see 140 when Zimbabwe would score triple 11 runs, it would be almost 15 overs or 16 overs. Now let's see. In the playing of 16 overs, Zimbabwe can score triple 1 run to defeat West Indies in 1 wicket if and only if West Indies cricketer Shimron Hetmer would score 0 runs out of 34 balls and West Indies cricketer Robman Pal would score 0 runs out of 35 balls. Hence, both of Shimron Hetmers and Robman Powell would marry a woman who wears always ancient Islamic burqa. Okay, and now the point is here we can see. Well, in the titles keyword is Cricket Zimbabwe, and here today match is the match between West Indies versus Zimbabwe. Now here we can see if Shamron Hitmars, both of Shamron Hitmars and Robman Powell would desire to wed a women to wear ancient Islamic burqa. That is the significant advantage for Zimbabwean cricketers because because here is the points that wedding and women to where women would wear ancient Islamic burqa. That is the negative mindset of man who wears burqa women. And here we can see that is the significant points. And in the negative mindsets, when man would score 0 runs out of 70 balls, their opponent countries would get benefits that now we do not face the target of 255 runs in 20 overs. That is the advantage for Zimbabwe. But now, fortunately, Shimron Hetmar wears a woman with a western cloth And Roman Powell wears a woman with a western cloth. Hence, Shimron Hetman could concentrated in cricket, and Roman Powell uh, could focus on his cricket performance. And what is the result? The result is uh, cricket Zimbabwe has faced the target of 255 runs in 20 overs provided by West Indies. And here is the moments as the achievement is okay. Well, and here is the significant points as we would be good like this. Okay, and now let's talk about the points. It is some things like significance, but now here my next point is to significance, because the next point is here we have to close the tabs. Okay, and the next point is the match between South Africa versus India. And here we are now talking about Cricket India and Hardik Pandya. Well, as we know that at the first innings, South Africa scored 187 runs in 20 overs, and in this reply innings, India scored triple one in 18 over 5 balls when India has been all outs. Okay. Now here we can say the marriage comparison between David Miller and Hardik Pandya's. Here we can say. Okay. And now first of all, the highest scorer is David Miller. And now, okay, let's check about the history. We have research on it. Perhaps here mentions that the wife de David Miller, a South African cricketer, is Kamala Harris Miller. Now here we can see the significant moments. And now who is Kamala Harris Miller? Okay. It is she, Kamala Harris Miller, wearing a western cloth. Okay. And now here we would talk about the points of Hardik Pandya. Okay, now divorce between Hardik Pandya and his wife. Who is Hardik Pandya's wife? That is Natasha Stankovic. Okay. Well, and now let's see what is David Miller's score. 63 runs out of 35 balls. And now let's check what is the contribution of Hardik Pandya bowlings. For 45 Hardik Pandya in bowlings, Hardik Pandya's economy is 45 runs in 4 overs. Okay. Now let's say what about the India? Here in batting, Hardik Pandya scores 18 runs out of 17 balls. And now, here we can say, now let's see. What is how is the points? What is the result that we address Hardik Pandya as Kung Fu Pandya? Because Hardik Pandya contains an attitude that he can score highest run and he can his bowling would be the best, that he would his economy would be 4 overs with 10 runs or 4 overs with 5 runs. And now recently here is the points, we can say that before the World Cup of 2024, we could see that Hardik Pandya has been divorced with his wife Natasha Stankovic. Okay. And now, now I would say about the personal opinions. My personal opinions is Hardik Pandya is seemed to be dedicated to wed a woman who wear ancient Islamic burqa. And why is my opinion like this about Hardik Pandya? Here is the clear-cut points. Hardik Pandya batting score is 18 runs out of 17 balls, and he has been out. Okay. Before being out, Hardik Pandya score is 18 runs out of 16 balls. Okay. Now he contains 1 over boundaries in 1 ball. That means and there is no boundaries. That means in 15 balls there is no boundary and no over boundary. Okay. Now let's check it. What if 15 balls of played by Hardik Pandya would contain 15 over boundaries? Here that is the significant moments. Okay. The significant moments is clear-cut points. And here we can say here that India's let's have the opinions and my points. Without over boundaries, Hardik Pandya's score in 15 balls is 12 runs. Now, what if Hardik Pandya's score contains 16 over boundary in 16 balls? Let's check it. 16 over boundary is in 16 balls means 96 runs out of 16 balls. Okay. And here let's check it. Let's subtract 98 by 18. I apologize. Let's subtract 96 by 18. Well, that is 98 subtract by 20. That is 78. Okay. Now let's let's get the summation between 78 and 111. And how we can find 111 sum by 78 is 113 sum by, I apologize, 111 sum by 8 sum by 70. 111 sum by 70 is 181, and 181 sum by it is 189. And here we can see if Hardik Pandya could score 96 runs out of 17 balls, then here India's score would be 189 runs in 18 overs 5 balls, where the targeted of 188 runs provided by South Africa, hence that would be achieved. And here that could be achieved, and here we can see that India could defeat South Africa by 1 wicket. And here that is the significant moment, that how was irresponsible batting of Hardik Pandya we could see. And here we can see when the deep overs is between Natasha Stankovic kick and Hardik Pandya, we always support Hardik Pandya because here Hardik Pandya was right and sister-in-law Natasha were wrong to take care of their children. But now here we can see in this match between South Africa versus India, it seems that Hardik Pandya is just justifying the divorce alimony demanded by his divorcee wife Natasha Stankovic. And that is here disgusting moments. And the strange thing that it seems that Hardik Pandya seemed to be dedicated to wed a women who wear Islamic ancient wear like ancient burqa. And that is the significant problem. Because before the match, probably Hardik Pandya could see the Instagram reels like this, where the Instagram is the significant points. Okay, here is Instagram reels. The Instagram is like that. If you cannot walk with the women wearing burqa in lieu to walk with modern women, your distractions would be clear. And now it is the recent points where the divorce calendar is 2024 and now the present calendar is 2026. It was 2 years when the Hardik Pandya has been persecuted by his wife Natasha Stankovic because of Natasha Stankovic demanding alimony from the divorce. And now here divorce is just trauma for Hardik Pandya, and now probably that it is seems like that Hardik Pandya would desire to wear a burqa women who wear ancient burqa, and he started to believe that probably if he cannot walk with a burqa women, his destruction would be clear. And that is the negative points in his performance, that where Hardik Pandya should score 96 out of 70. His batting score is 18 runs out of 17 balls. And without over boundary, it is 12 runs out of 16 balls. And it is the two dramatics. Now let's check at the bowlings. Now let's check at Hardik Pandya's bowlings. Okay. Now let's check what is David Miller's scores. David Miller's score is 63 runs out of 35 balls, where the score of David Miller contains 7 boundaries and 3 over boundaries. What is 3 over boundaries? That is 21 from over boundaries. What is 7 boundaries? That is 28 from boundaries. Now let's check it. The summation between 28 and 21 is 49. Here we can see that in the score of David Miller's of 63, here is the significant point is 49. Okay. Now let's subtract 63 by 49. That is 64 or subtract by 50. That is 14. Okay. Now here we can see David Miller scores 49. I apologize. David Miller scores 14 runs out of 25 balls with only single, double, triple. And here at the same moment, David Miller scored 49 runs in 10 balls, where 7 boundaries and 3 over boundaries. Yes. Here we can say, here is the significant moments. Now let's see, who is wife of David Miller? We know that is Camelia Harris Miller. Okay. Now let's check it. What about the Camelia Harris Miller? And here we can see it is the new points at the moments. Well, now here we can see it is just like a almost cleavage. It is Western cloth where Camelia Harris Miller wears David Miller. Okay. Now here my point is that Camelia, the David Miller does not want to wed an ancient burqa woman. David Miller wants a wife who wear Western clothes like modern European clothes and modern United States or American clothes. That is that is wish of David Miller. Hence, David Miller wears Camelia Harris Miller. Okay. Now, accordance with Islamic. Okay. Now here we can see accordance with Islamic rules. If you want to walk with a Western modern woman, your distraction would be clear like you would go to Habia Jahannam. But reality can be opposite, and now reality is clearly opposite. And how is this? I can say it clearly. Okay. What is 187 subtracted by 63? That is 184 subtracted by 60. Here we can say 124. South Africa can score 124 out of 20 overs if and only if David Miller wears a woman to wear ancient Islamic burqa, and after the marriage, in this match between South Africa versus India, David Miller's score would be 0 runs out of 35 balls. Okay. And what would be the target for India? That is 125 runs out as a target in 20 overs. Now let's see, if David Miller is bowling anything. Now let's check it if David Miller exists as bowling. No. Here David Miller does not exist in bowling. Okay. Here the best wicket receiver is Marco Johnson. He took 4 wickets in 4 overs as the economy of 22 runs. Okay. Now let's see. Let's check it the points. Here I would talk about the Marco Janssens is a bowler. And here we can see that is the significant points. And now when Indians score is 111 in 20 overs. So what is 24 subtracted by 11? That is 13. Here South Africa could beat India in the difference of 13 runs in lieu of the difference of 76 runs if and only if South Africa could score 124 runs, because after marriage with ancient burqa women, David Miller's score would be 0 runs out of 35 balls. That means here we can David Miller is happy with Western clothed women like Kamala Harris Miller. And that is the way that how Islamic rules now that how today's Islamic rules is false accordance with South African cricketers David Miller's, Indian cricketers Hardik Pandya, and the match between West Indies versus Zimbabwe. Okay. Now let's focus on it. That is the significant moments at the points. Okay. Now here we can see What is the bowling score, bowling economy of Hardik Pandya? That is 4 over 45 runs, well, 0 wickets. That means somehow here we can say that Hardik Pandya is now seem to focus to wait an ancient Borka women's. And here we can say that is the destruction we could see. What if Hardik Pandya would marry with a homosexual man in lieu of ancient Borka women? Then Hardik Pandya's economy would be 4 overs out of 4 overs 12 runs in lieu of 4 over 45 runs. And here we can say, here we could say that Hardik Pandya is now seem to focusing to make India defeated by South Africa in 76 runs. It is the points. And it is just because of Hardik Pandya's mentally instability. Well, and here that is the significant moments at the points. Okay, now let's talk about the Marco Johnson's. Now Marco Johnson's. Well, wife, day. Well, here we can see the points. Just wait and watch. Marco Jansen, South African cricketers. Okay, and here we can see Marco Jansen is not married. He is currently in relationship with Moika humans. Oh, Moika humans. Here you can see. Now you can see that Marco Johnson's girlfriend is Moika humans. And now let's focus on the coincidence. Marco Johnson's bowling economy is 4 overs, 22 runs, 4 wickets. Okay. Now here we can see what is 4 over boundary. That is 24 runs out of 4 balls. And now let's say the points. If South Africa Marco Johnson would focus to marry with a woman to wear an ancient burqa, what is the points? Now let's sum 22 by 24. That is 46. That means if Marco Samuelson would marry with a ancient burqa women, then his bowling economy would be 4 overs, 46 runs. Now let's get the points. What about the Indians batting scores affections? Now, triple one sum by 24 is 135. When the South African score is 187 in 20 overs as the first innings. Well, now let's subtract 187 by 135. That is 182 subtract by 130. That is 52. That means here we can see South Africa could defeat India in the difference of 52 runs if Marco Jansen bowling economy is uh, 4 runs 40 4 over 46 runs, 0 wickets hit if and only if Marco Jansen, the South African cricketer, would wear an ancient burqa women's. And now, here is the points that how, well, what if ancient burqa women's are girlfriend both of David Miller and Marco Jansen's? Here we can see, let's talk about the points. Marco David Miller score would be 0 runs out of 35 balls. Well, 0 runs out of 35 balls. Hence, South African score would be like 124 runs in 20 overs. And the target for India would be 125 runs in 20 overs. Now let's say about the Marco Jansen. Well, his bowling economy would be 4 over 46 runs. And here the point is like that. India's score would be 135 runs in 18 over 5 balls as a reply innings. That means, well, India would defeat South Africa in 1 wicket. And here is the points. Okay, and now let's check it. Let's check it the batting innings of Marco Jansen. Okay. Now let's check the batting innings of Marco Jansen. That is to significance. Okay, now Marco Jansen's batting innings is 2 runs out of 6 balls. Okay, he is bowler, as we can say that. Now here we can say the Indians points. Well, now let's see. Okay, let's talk about the points. 4 multiplied by 36 is 144. Well, what if Marco Jansen would contest a girlfriend like ancient burqa women's? His bowling economy would be 4 overs, 144 runs. Okay. Now here we can see 144 subtract by 22 is 122. Okay. Now let's check it. Well, the summation between 1111 and 122 is 233. 233 runs in 19 overs. Now here we can say that it was easy for India to achieve the target of 188 runs to defeat South Africa in 3 wickets or 5 wickets. I don't know. And here we can see that is the significant moments. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yes, 4 wickets. So India could defeat South Africa in 4 wickets to achieve the target of 188 runs provided by South Africa. If and only if Macro Johnson's bowling economy would be 4 overs 144 runs. And what would why it would be possible? It would be possible if and only if Macro Johnson's girlfriend would be ancient Burqa women. But now, here we can see in real life, let me take a break. Marco Johnson's containing girlfriend is in Western South African women's or Western European women's or Western American women's. Hence, here Marco Johnson can concentrated concentrated in bowling economy. Hence, his bowling economy is 4 overs, 22 runs, 4 wickets. And here, that is the significant moment that India score is 111 to be defeated by South Africa in the difference of 76 runs. But here is the mindset that how and in these points Hardik Pandya is focusing to contest relationship with Salwar Kameez women or Burqa women. Not a Burqa women, Salwar Kameez women. And the result is Hardik Pandya batting score is 18 runs out of 17 balls and the bowling economy is 4 overs 45 runs. On the other hand, Marco Johnson contains girlfriend to be in Western clothing women's. Marco Johnson's bowling economy is 4 overs, 22 runs, 4 wickets. David Miller contains an Western clothing wife, Kamala Harris Miller. And the coincidence is he could concentrate on batting scores. His David Miller's batting score is 63 runs out of 35 balls, where Hardik Pandya's score is here at 18 runs out of 17 balls. And that is the difference that how Western clothing wife or Western clothing girlfriend is coincident factor of the victory of South Africa. Because here, because when David Miller contests Western clothing wife and Marco Johnson contests the Western clothing girlfriends, both of David Miller and Marco Johnson concentrate on their cricket. Marco Johnson concentrate on his bowling economy and David Miller concentrate on batting performance. And there is the points is concentrating on cricket performance is the best factor of the victory of South Africa. And where coincidence factor is Western clothing wife or Western clothing girlfriend of David Miller and Marco Johnson's. And here we can say if we man can focus on our cricket performance like 63 out of 35 balls as a batting score and bowling economy is 4 over 22 runs, 4 wickets. And here is the point that I can coincidentally I can get a Western clothing girlfriend and Western clothing wife. Now, Western clothing girlfriend and Western clothing wife would be focused on me if and only if I can focus on my batting performance and bowling economy. And here is the significant points. Now, now focusing to get married with a burqa woman or get a girlfriend to be a burqa woman is I am not constant on batting performance or bowling performance. And when I cannot concentrate on cricket performance, so it is worse than Jahannam. Huh? In the cause of containing the Western clothing women. Well, if I can focus on my cricket batting performance and bowling economy, best bowling economy, I can contest Western clothing wife. And here, well, because of containing the Western clothing wife, if I would go to Jahannam, it is the blessing point for me. But if my batting performance is worse and the bowling economy is worse, probably I can get a burqa wife. And because of containing burqa wife, if I go to Jannatul Firdaus, that is the curse for me. Well, now let's accepting Instagram reels that accepting Western clothing women is Habia Jannam and accepting burqa women is Jannatul Firdaus. And here the reality is accepting the fortunate of Jahannam is blessing and fortunate of Jannatul Firdaus is curse. And that is the best moment as my opinions. And now, here is the points that I am disappointed with Hardik Pandya. Well, in the interview with Coffee with Karan, in the interview with Karan Johar, Hardik Pandya mentions that he contains several girlfriends. Well, I think, Hardik Pandya is like playboy. And now the problem is, Hardik Pandya is now seem to be playboy with Salwar Kameez women. And that is the coincident negative effect on his cricket performance. And that is the worst issue that I have mentioned. Now see you then. Well, here I would back with the next points, next lifestyle, and now here I think cricket with Islamic reels, and my live stream is now over for these points. And I would resume it in some live stream later because I got a materials to content the next live streaming with the different videos, and it is not an Islamic reels, it is an person to be Christian prophets, I mean self-claimed Christian prophets, and here I would roast her with the perception of cricket matching. Now my next live stream would be the news cricket analysis between the match of the match between England versus Pakistan. See you then. Khuda Hafiz. Love you.